So, hello everyone. Today we are going to know about the concept of Karl Marx. As you know that Karl Marx is one of the most important political philosopher. He is a sociologist who has given a definition about communism, and we will be knowing about what he has given as a concept. Okay. First of all, Karl Marx was a German philosopher. Okay. Karl Marx, when was he born? He was born in the year 1818. Okay. So before that, you have to know something. Like before Karl Marx, you know, came into his philosophical conquest along with his societal restructuring, he was very much influenced by his mentor. Mentor means his basically the person who has influenced his thought. That was George Wilhelm Friedrich Hegel. Okay, so very importantly, in this topic, we will be talking about the concepts which he has given. Especially, we'll talk about the concept of class struggle, how he has gone into the revolution. Then we will be talking about the transition, how the society has been transformed, like how we have entered to the phase of capitalization, and then we will talk about how different types of class and what are the conflict which has existed between them, and then we will talk about revolution, and we will also discuss a bit about the dialectics, especially the dialectical materialism which he has adopted from Hegel, and finally that is communism, which is the end stage of Karl Marx. So here you have to see, after Karl Marx has given his theory. Miss Karl Marx has basically, what he has done. He has been a protagonist, or you can say that he has been a thinker who has talked about capitalism. But capitalism means where there was industry, where there was like workers, then the capitalist. Okay, but how this industrialist class has emerged, we will look into that. So before industrialization, see in the left we have a triangle shaped something like a pyramid I have drawn. Here we will divide the society into three spheres. Okay, first of all, the feudal lords. You can see that the top is the feudal lords. We know what does the feudal lords do. The feudal lords basically, they used to take high amount of taxations, like they used to tax the peasants. Okay, so the peasants, like they were always being grieved by the pressure, by the torture of the feudal lords. They have no other things, but they were beaten up, they were forced, they were tortured by the exorbitant amount of taxes which the feudal lords used to levy. So they used to take money from the money lender. You can see that in between the triangle I have made a cut, so to explain that there was a middle class. I'm not talking about the present generation middle class. It was the middle class who existed in between these two classes. Okay, so the middle class was whom? The middle class was a money lending class. Okay, they were the money lenders. Okay, money lenders means they have the money, like the peasants used to take money from this money lending class, and they used to repay taxes to the feudal lords. But over the time, what has happened, like this money lending class, they used to impose taxation over this peasant section. Like you have to, if you can't give the money, so you have to pay away your land, you have to be a bond level under that particular person, and these things used to repay. So more than this, like the feudal lords, the money lending class was gaining wealth because they were directly into the contact with the peasants. Because obviously the feudal lords, they won't have a direct friendship, or they won't have a direct talk with talk with the peasant class. So in there was a intermediary, like the mediator class, that was the money lender class, who used to mix with this peasant class, and they used to offer, yes, you come, you can take the money from us, and you can pay off, and simply you can return us after 2 to 3 months. Yeah, we will charge a small portion of the interest. But gradually this interest used to be doubled, and they cannot pay off, and their lands and everything were sell off to these money lending classes. Okay, so this was the time which we have completed, because we have already known about the French Revolution, that the 1789, how like French society and everything else in Europe has been stipulated, how we have come across that particular system, and the world was talking about a more scientific society. Scientificism was growing with pure reason, the growth of science, inventions, and discovery, and we were looking to the, you can see that there's a rectangle shaped thing in the left which I have created to make you understand. This is basically what, the rectangle shaped thing symbolizes a society where we will talk about industrializations. Now, the earlier society was a feudal society. What used to happen into the feudal society? Feudal society was marked by two classes: feudal lords and the peasants. In between, the money lending classes emerged. But see, I have drawn a connection, like the money lending classes, what they used to do, they since they received huge amount of wealth from whom, from the peasants, they become the capitalist class of the next generation. Means when there was industrialization, this capitalist, the basic, what does capitalist mean? Those who hold capital, those who have money, those who have liquid cash, or those who have huge amount of capital assets. Okay, so this money lending sections, they became themselves as capitalist. Okay, and you can see into the rectangle, like the roof of the rectangle represent the superstructure. What does the superstructure mean? Superstructure means like the roof represent where there are like the capitalists are there. Then we can see the police, the administration, and means the person, those who are in charge of the power, they will represent the superstructure. But we have also represent another thing, that is the bottom section of this rectangle, and that is the base. What does the base means? The base stands for, like the superstructure is standing on behalf of the base, suppose I'm talking about a building. Suppose you are creating a house for yourself. First you will give the foundation, like you will be basically making a foundation of your house. Okay, so into that foundation, you have your foundation of the house will be the ground floor, or the the stuffs which is basically underground. That portion you have to be that has to be very strong, so which can lift the entire building. So the base is represent the economic aspect. The base represents the peasants, along with everything, along with other sections, those means which is the main section of the economy. The base represents the peasants, and the superstructure represents the power divisions. Okay, so now if you are preparing for CUET, if you are preparing for UGC net, there can be various questions like what are the books which Karl Marx have written along with his friend Engels. So first of all, we will discuss what are the books he has written. He has written on Jewish question. You can see it in the screen. Then he has written Communist Manifesto. When it was written in 1948. Then he has written Das Kapital, but Das Kapital was written in 3 volumes, but the third volume has been completed by his friend Engels. Okay, then he has written the 18 Brumaire of Louis Bonaparte. Then he has written Political Economy. Okay, and there are several other books. If you just surf it out by yourself when you are reading Karl Marx, then you can have a direct look to that. Okay, so these are the books which he has written, which he has tried to give to the society, to the peoples who have been. So most interestingly, what we have to note down, Karl Marx was such a thinker who has challenged the present regime, or the like the power, who has challenged the power regime of his own time. Suppose for example, now there is a leading political party, and you are standing in front of them and you are criticizing them. Okay, so what will happen to you? You can just have a means you can have an understanding over that. Like you will be either they will punish you, or you will be removed from the main scene. So Karl Marx was challenging an existing system where there was basically there were existing basically 2 classes. Okay, now the 2 classes. What are the names of the 2 classes? 2 classes. See here, you can see Means apart from the first class, like the first class is basically they are the owners of the means of productions, means they are the industry owners, means in Hindi we call them malik. Okay. And in the second class we have whom, we have the labor class. See, first one I have represented as a capitalist class, and the second we have talked about the labor class. So there is always bourgeois versus proletariat. So this is the German spelling which I have written down in the screen, that is bourgeoisie versus proletariat. Okay. So yeah, here you can see there are two classes. So first of all you have to understand, like, the one owns everything and the other one, like, they creates everything but they do not own anything. Okay. So this is a division where we will be talking about the haves and the have nots. Okay. So haves and the have nots means the one who has everything, all leisurely things, like they are the owner. Suppose you are owning something, like you are means owner of everything. Okay. Like you own a BMW, Mercedes and all, and you have kept workers under you, and those who will be working for on behalf of you, like they are the employees. So they used to like work for you, and then they will go home, then they will get the salary in the end of the day or the end of the month. So then these things used to happen at the time. But here the most difficult thing which you have to understand was the definition of class and the class struggle. Okay. Like, what is a class? Class means the economic determination. Economic determination of what? Class means your economic representation of your basically income and income and expenditure, on which defines your economic position. For example, suppose you are saying that I don't belong to this class. Suppose you are having a huge amount of money and you are saying that no, this is not my class. So class means this is not your standard basically. Okay. So like we during our childhood we used to go in one first standard, second standard, in this way we have climbed, right? So class represent here the economic distinction, where some people are into the higher class, some are in the middle class, some are in the lower class. We differentiate the class according to our own necessity, according to our own understanding, according to our own economic or income capabilities. But here, whenever we talk about the class struggle, it is during the time of Karl Marx. Now we are talking about the time frame like 1840s, 1850s. What has happened in the time? You know that the industrialization has caught its pace. Pace means speed. So the biggest problem which used to emerge, there were huge amount of manual labor. Okay. What the manual labor used to do, the manual labor used to get the wages at the end of the day. Suppose now you own a company, now you are the owner of that company, and you have a director under you, you have recruited him, you have a clerk, you have an accountant, you have an basically you have most other persons, those who are looking, you have an electrician, you have an engineer, you have a gateman. Okay. So they are your staffs. Now we call it a staff, but at the time they were known as laborers. Laborers of various categories. Now since see, now a gateman or a watchman, they won't be sitting with the manager or the director to have a cup of coffee. Okay. But they do not realize the thing that all of them are laborers. Okay. They don't have that. They will segregate among themselves on the question of what, on the question that they are not seen. They are not same means like like they won't realize the fact, like they will say that no, I earn more than him, why should I sit with him and have a coffee? No, why should I sit with him and have a cup of tea? They won't sit together. Okay. So what they will do, they won't sit together, and they will like always criticize each other, like he is just next, he is very down position, he is not next to me, so I will not be providing, I will not be talking to him. So this kind of division has been there. Okay. For that I have written here, class in itself means the class is not organized, they have no consciousness, they are not united basically. And when they realize that no, this is not us, and we stand together, and how, where do we stand? We stand together because we are all laborers, and we are all laborers in the sense that we have our all means whatever the interest we have to protect ourselves, because this owner class, like the owners of the means of production, the capitalist class, will always exploit us, with what, they will throw us if we are not capable. Because see, at the time I'm talking about 1840s, 1850s, 1860s, that time labor laws were not that much apt or that much progressive. Okay, there were no trade unions. So who will talk about the, who will talk about the lifestyle of these workers? Like, they were thrown out if they are not able to come to the industry. Like, someone has lost his hand by, like they has put, like by his, someone has lost his hand, so he was not given any kind of compensation or relaxation or social security measures, was zero. Okay, so for that purpose they have realized that we are all workers, irrespective of our differences, which has been created by the owners, which has been created by the capitalists. So we have to organize ourselves. So that consciousness which is existing into the class, that is known as class consciousness, and that will transform this class into the class for itself. Okay, so from class in itself to class for itself, now we are having a common cause, and they will resist against the authority by with, like, like they will set stage for revolution after realizing that they have been exploiting the workers, and then they will be giving up, like they will take charge of the superstructure. Okay, Karl Marx says that the superstructure is a very exploitative, instrument which is available in the hand of the capitalists. So this superstructure has to be withered away, or they have to be broken out, and this entire thing, the entire society has to be classless. Classless means everyone should be treated equally. So by the means of a revolution, the revolution means when, because the industry workers, they used to create, suppose that they are create like they are producing a table. Okay, so the table do not belong to them, like they are provided with the money and they go home with that money. Okay, the table, they are taking this table to the market, they receive higher amount of profits, and after selling the table, and then they used to become rich. Who used to become rich? The capitalists used to become rich. Okay, so this is very clear from our like introspection. Like, there was alienation of labor. Alienation means from whom the labor has been alienated. The labor has been alienated from its product. Okay, like what they have produced, now they don't have any, ownership over that particular product. So this is about the concept of class for itself, and then we have seen how the concept of alienation. Okay, most importantly, I was talking about dialectics. Okay, so dialectics has been taken from Hegel. Okay, like what is dialectics? Dialectics means, while explaining the concept of dialectics, Hegel said that dialectics is the inclusion of an idea, and over the time this idea has been challenged, and then there is a reciprocation of another idea. Okay, which, and when both the ideas mixes, then it creates a separate kind of synthesis. Okay, suppose Hegel was talking about, suppose there is a thesis. Now one thesis is anticipating with another thesis. Like, you have an idea, so you will be contradicted with another idea. Suppose you have given one idea and someone said, no, this is not something which I will be accepting, so he will be placing with another idea. So that idea will also be very much strong enough that you cannot deny that since we are living in a society, that idea is also important. So we are mixing both the ideas, then with this idea we are forming another thing, that is the synthesis. Then we will be, and entire thing is called, what, the laws of negation and negation, and this repeats along with the lines of history. Okay, so this is something which you have to understand. So Marx says that the interpretation of idea is lesser important to that of matter. For Marx, see, if you have material assets, like for Marx, it was not dialectics, but it was dialectical materialism. Marx says that the intrusion of idea into matter will finally create a new existence, and that existence is basically shaping the reality of our life. Okay, so for that purpose you have to do what? For that purpose you have to create what? You have to create means your ownership or stake over matter. Suppose you have a land, you have a property, and then you are in an emergency, you don't have any money, you will sell off that land to just overcome that emergency situation. So that that security or assurity of material possession gives you with a stability which people do not have during the time of industrialization, because everything has been captured, carried away by the capitalists. So that is the thing which we have been talking into. And so this with this we have come into the close of our topic, and you can see that I have given some examples how exploitations have been running, and how like the in the very left hand side of the picture you can see that how a industry worker has been exploited, like the owners has suspended, or like he has taken away his job and he is carrying the hand of that sorry, he has been catching his feet of that particular uh, what to say, that particular owner who has been recruiting him. So this kind of discriminations has happened over the time, and it was Marx who has given a clarion call for removing such obstacles. And after removal of such obstacles, we have seen how the society could be a fair society where everyone has to be treated equally. So apparently after the neo like Marxism, we will talk about neo-Marxism in our coming classes. Hope this I have tried to explain the things in a very simple way. Okay, so if you have any problem regarding this, you can come up with the problem. You can give a comment, you can give a like, and I am not saying anything about subscribing or not subscribing. It's completely depend on you whether you like it, you will do that, and if you don't like that, that's okay. So if you have any confusion, please come up with the comments. Thank you.